Hey guys, I just thought I'd make a video right now. Uh, I wanted to talk about a book that I've been reading. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can angle this thing and if you can see me. Sorry about the lighting. I'm outside a parking lot at night, so it's a little dark and I had to roll the windows up. There's somebody in a car next to me, so I didn't want them to hear my video. But I wanted to make a video about a subject that's very important. And I'm gonna do a full review. It's a review of a book that I've read. And I'll definitely do a review later on when I can be on my computer and do the live stream, so that I can just sit and talk about it for a while, because I really want to go in depth on the book. But it's a book and his name is Andrew Yang. He's running for president of the United States, actually. He's Asian. He's an Asian American. I think he's Taiwanese nationality, I think. Chinese, Taiwanese nationality. And he wrote a book titled The War Against Normal People. And the title is long, but it's The War Against Normal People, the Loss of American Jobs, and how robots and tech and AI is our future. I think that's it. I probably messed that up, so when I make my video later, you'll know. But that was the subtitle, and he's running for president based on an issue that a lot of people are not talking about, and it needs to be talked about because it's going to affect so many people in this country, and really, I think around the world, this is going to affect people in other countries. And you need to get this book. I don't care if you are a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Libertarian, social, whatever. It don't matter. You need to get this book, because he talks about how technology is growing so fast and so quickly that we're approaching the age of the robots, and how AI, which is artificial intelligence, will take away a lot of jobs, and how my mind's blanking now. I can't remember the words. What's the words? Just a second. But yeah, robots and technology and artificial intelligence is going to take away a lot of these jobs. And, oh yeah, automation. My mind was blanking. I couldn't remember the word. How automation and AI, which is artificial intelligence, is going to take away a lot of people's jobs. And he said that, for example, automation, jobs that are going to be in trouble within the next 5 to 10 years are jobs where it's sort of a routine. You kind of do the same thing over and over again, like fast food. Excuse me. Doing fast food, you walk up, you order the food, the person, gives you you take the order, gives you the change back. If you're cooking the food, you flip the burger, you flip the, fries, blah, 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 and then, serve it. Jobs like that, jobs that are routine and factory type jobs and things like that are going to be done away with. He said, as this technology advances, you are going to lose lots and lots of jobs. And he said, people that are going to be in trouble in the future are going to be, obviously, factory workers, fast food workers, retail workers, truck drivers, driving any type of truck, whatever the job is that you drive a truck. And he said this will even move up from low blue-collar type work. This will even start to affect, thanks to especially artificial intelligence. He said this is going to affect the middle class, and it's going to affect several white-collar jobs like lawyers, call center jobs, secretaries, even the medical field, like certain types of doctors. He said this is going to be a widespread problem, and he makes a good case in the book. And I don't know if it's going to be as bad as he thinks it is. I don't know. He's kind of being futuristic, because, we don't know. But if it's even half as bad as he says it is, we're going to have a lot of discomfort. If it's as bad as he says that it's going to be, if it turns out to be that bad, we're heading for a catastrophe. I mean, this is going to be so bad that, like, I don't know what the country is going to do. And that's why he is proposing in his campaign to give every single American, no matter what your income, no matter. I guess, I hope you have to be a citizen. I hope that's something he's going to guarantee. But he's going to give every single American, it's called Universal Basic Income, UBI, and he's going to give $1,000 a month to every American. Doesn't matter. You know, there's no stipulation. There's no, I guess, obligation. He said, we're giving them this money because they're not going to have any money. And they need this money, you know, to obviously survive and not starve. I mean, my goodness. They need this money maybe if they have a lower skilled job and they still have it, luckily. They can use that money to invest, maybe to go to college, to, you know, maybe some kind of community school, to start a business, maybe, or do something to help stimulate the economy. And I don't agree with him on his other issues. I've been watching him, you know, and we're going to find out about him within the next couple of weeks because the first Democratic debate is coming up among the candidates, and he is going to be on the stage. He's not polling real great. I think he's like at 1%. And I'm sure most Americans don't really probably know who he is. And he'll be way down at the end, you know, way down at the end of the stage because it's going to be Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders and, you know, those guys will be at the front. He's going to be way down in the back. And like I said, nobody's going to know who he is. But I just feel like if he gets on the stage, I agree with him on this issue. Nobody's talking about it, and it needs to be talked about because this is going to affect everybody. And he talks about in the book, you know, how bad is this going to be? You know, he said, well, the problem with this is just like he said, it's going to be like when the Industrial Revolution happened and we all went away from being basically farmers of some sort, whether we were wealthy planters or sharecroppers at the lowest end or the yeoman farmer, you know, the small landowner. He said no matter what it was, though, everybody pretty much farmed in some, you know, some fashion. And, of course, the Industrial Revolution killed that eventually. It wiped it out. I mean, you hardly know a person. There's obviously small percentages of people, but you barely know a person that farms anymore. Who does that? You know, but he said, unlike the Industrial Revolution, that, you know, obviously this was a catastrophe. I mean, the Industrial Revolution caused a lot of problems for people. A lot of, you know, you had riots in certain cities. You had, if you've ever heard of what's known as the Luddites back in the 1700s in Britain, because Britain was kind of the first country that experienced the Industrial Revolution. He said they had workers, you know, they were the ones that would destroy the machines and the factory. I can't remember, the textile mills. It might have been that. I can't remember. But they fought them because, you know, that was taking away their jobs. And they were against kind of that happening, and they were called the Luddites. And it kind of became a term of somebody that rejects modernism. You know, in technology in general, that's how that term came about. It's Luddite, and it's basically, you know, it's a Luddite. And that's where that term kind of comes from now, and it's used for anybody, like I said, that rejects kind of modern technology, or, you know, you could be an extremist, you know, modern technology or modernism in general. And I'm kind of a Luddite in some ways. But, you know, the Industrial Revolution had its problems, like he said, but other jobs came about. The blacksmith went away, but once you had the automobile and everything, you got to have the mechanic, you know, and you got to have people that know how to work on it, blah, blah, blah. Well, he said no new jobs, it looks like, are going to be created with this. Like, it's only going to be new jobs that you're going to really need to be qualified to do. Like, very educated, very intelligent. You're going to have to, you know, do these things. And it's like he said that, they think, he and others think that 40% of the workforce could eventually be out of work because of it, you know, within the next 5 to 10 years. That's a catastrophe. If that happens, he's right, you're going to have violence. At best, you're going to have depression. You know, you're going to have suicides. You're going to have an uptick of drugs if anybody can get them. You're going to have a lot of violence. You're going to have towns just wasting away. I mean, they'll go to nothing. They'll be like many of the towns in the Midwest. They're just going to go to nothing because there'll be no jobs. And he talks about in the video, he talks about in the book that we have examples of what happens when this happens, and it's the jobs going away in the Midwest. He downplays immigration and says that that's not at all, the problem. I don't agree with that. I think immigration is part of the problem. I'm not saying it's the only problem, but it's part of the problem that, white people especially are losing jobs to these immigrant workers. But I want to get into that. I want to talk about the book. But he says that he believes the reason Donald Trump got elected was because of losing all these manufacturing jobs in the Midwest, and of course, in pockets of places around the country. My area was affected by it too. And, and he's right partly on that. That is part of the reason why Donald Trump was elected. It was a major reason. And what he's saying is that automation is one of the main reasons that they lost their jobs. He said many of these businesses now don't need workers. They have robots. He said you go in these factory areas, they don't need the factory worker anymore. They have the robots, and it was showing it, and they're doing all the work. And by the way, he mentioned retail. And you're saying, well, how can robots do retail? I mean, unless these are very advanced robots. How can they do retail? That's not exactly a routine job, and that's true other than, I guess, folding the clothes. And he said, and he's talking about, malls are closing all across the country. He estimated that within the next, 5 to 10 years, 30% of all malls in the United States are going to close, which I think our mall is going to definitely be affected soon by that. Because we're losing businesses right and left. And he said, and we all know what's killing it, e-commerce, particularly Amazon. That's what he mentions in there. E-commerce, mainly, of course, Amazon. I don't buy much on Amazon other than books, but, that's definitely happening. I know people that buy stuff on Amazon all the time. I don't, but people do. And, it's killing these corporate we just had a Lifeway Christian bookstore. I think they completely went out, and ours just closed the other day. It's gone. And it's just destroying businesses right and left. And it's like he said, Amazon paid no federal taxes last year. It's insane, And they're killing businesses. And like he said, what does that mean? Jobs. Jobs are just flittering away. And if something isn't done, we're in a lot of trouble. This country is this could be catastrophic. And it's like he said, it's going to affect men the most. Women will be affected too. It's like he said, it's going to affect everybody. But he said this is going to really hammer men because it's going to take away jobs that they do. It's going to definitely, like he said, hammer lower skilled workers. They will be hammered the most. But like he said, even white collar workers are going to be hammered by this. It's scary stuff. It really is kind of a Mad Max type scenario if you've ever seen the movie Mad Max. It's scary stuff. Like the end of civilization almost. Oh my God. What do you do if you have no jobs? What are you going to do? Now, I've lived this life myself. I'm ashamed to say I don't work. I've not worked in a long, long, long time. So I know partly how this is. It's not fun. You get very depressed. You get very sad. You kind of feel useless. And you just have, you're bored all the time because you don't have anything to do. And I'm not married, obviously. That's another issue for men. They're going to have a hard time getting married because women don't marry men that are broke. Good Lord, lower skilled working men that have low incomes have trouble getting married. How many men are going to get married that have no job? Very few. And like he said, this is just really scary stuff. And what we do about it is going to be interesting. really scary to think about our future. I just hope that, and I think this guy's got a real good chance to get elected, guys. I think he's got a real good chance. When people hear about this and it really gets out there, unlike the rest of the yahoos in that party, he's got a real chance because he's actually talking about something that matters. I don't agree with him on other issues. He kind of toes the Democratic Party line. But this issue is big, and he does agree with Trump on some issues. So this is going to be really interesting. I think this man has a real chance to win. But I would definitely get this book, The War Against Normal People by Andrew Yang. It's very good, and I'm going to do, like I said, a better review later on at my house when I can get on my laptop and go to their live stream that I can talk for a while and not worry about running out or running out my phone, because it'll take a long time to upload this video. But thanks, guys. Like I said, buy the book, and we'll see you soon.